important historians with broad knowledge on the Victorian era. In this investigation, my group has chosen to collect facts about this era and this period in time in order to answer a research question, which is, how did the industrial improvements of the Victorian era shape modern economy? Welcome, Mr. Urquia, to our studio. It's a pleasure to have us with you today. Today we'll be speaking about the Victorian era. Can you tell us a little about Britain's industrial improvements during the Victorian era?
Okay, yeah. During the Victorian era, in the early 19th century, there was technological and communications revolution during the Victorian era. The steam engine was invented, and that brought, a huge change to the transportation system with the railroads, and the whole country became unified with railroads all over the place. Okay, with the steam, also with the steam engine, there were many other technological discoveries, like the cotton gin, for example, the spinning jenny, all those things that revolutionized industry, especially the textile industry. Okay, so those would be the two major technological advancements during the Victorian era.
Thank you. And another question, were all the new technologies and inventions an easy transition for the economy?
Yes, well, the economy went from being basically an agricultural economy to an industrial economy. This is the beginning of capitalism and mercantilism. Okay, Britain became an empire with its unique economic system, capitalism. It was a British man who wrote The Wealth of Nations, which is basically one of the first books written about capitalism. Okay? So it transformed the economy.
How did the economy begin to change after all the industrial improvements?
Okay, like I said, it went from agricultural to industrial. Capitalism developed. The concept of self-interest, and saving and all those things revolutionized also the economy.
Exactly. And to what extent do you think that it shaped the modern economy of today?
Well, we're still using capitalism as the basic of our economy.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Urquia, for being here today and sharing this knowledge with us. This has been our interview, and thank you again for your attention.
Thank you. Great interview.
To our studio today. It's a pleasure to have us with you.
Thanks, Keely.
So can you tell us a bit about Britain's industrial improvements during the Victorian era?
Some of the biggest improvements were that because industry changed so much, it led to a creation of cities, and there was so much need to get products to and from these cities that it developed their system of transport. And the system of transports went from animal-driven to engine-driven, and that developed into better roadways, better canals, just an overall better transport system. And that transport system also then led to the ability to send products and ideas back and forth from city to city and everything that was in between.
Thank you. Were all the new technologies and inventions an easy transition for the economy?
No, the transition was probably very difficult because as the need for workers grew, cities developed, large cities which really had not existed before. And in those cities, there was a need for a lot of labor. And there ended up being a lot of children. And those children were often put to work and exploited because they could do jobs that some adults couldn't do. And they would do them for much cheaper than adults would do. And so one of the biggest problems that the Industrial Revolution caused was the exploitation of children.
And how do you think the economy began to change after all the industrial improvements?
Well, the economy boomed. It led to a lot more inventions, which was a good thing. But it also led to the creation of these giant cities. And those cities caused an increase in, like I mentioned before, child labor. It also led to an increase in disease.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
So to what extent do you think this shaped the modern economy?
Well, it led to our ability to transport goods and ideas, which in many ways was good, but it also doubled the population over a short period of time, and it really increased the overall population of cities, countries, and overall the planet, which, as we know today, has turned into something that is really detrimental to the planet because we've overdone it. A lot of those inventions, which led to further inventions, have also caused a lot of stress on the planet and a lot of suffering among people. And while it's improved the life of people in certain countries, certain places, for many people it's actually led to a degrading of their life and their overall quality of life.
And destruction of the planet. Well, thank you, Mr. Doherty, for being with us today and sharing this knowledge with us. This has been our interview, and thank you for helping us.